Apple's rise to the top wasn't just about cutting-edge technology, it was about you. The thrill of unboxing, the elegance of the UI, the customer support that felt like magic. Owning an Apple product once felt like joining a movement, like being part of something bigger. But somewhere along the way, something changed. Have you felt it too? That spark, that sense of being valued is fading. So, let's rewind. Back to when Apple truly cared and uncover how it all started and where it went wrong. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to MTB-HD and tap the bell so you never miss a beat. Apple built its reputation on a complete end-to-end experience. You didn't just buy a device, you bought the ecosystem. Take the 2005 iPod, for example. It came with headphones, with soft foam covers, a dock adapter, charging cable, and even a protective sleeve. That attention to detail was Apple's way of saying, we've got you covered. Fast forward to today, and Apple isn't the underdog anymore. It owns over 65% of the US smartphone market. Back in the early 2000s, it was just 7%. In 2020, there were 138 million US iPhone users, that's nearly 40% of the population, and over 1 billion users worldwide. But that explosive success came with a problem. Who's left to sell to? Apple hit a sales peak in 2015 with 233 million iPhones sold, but the following years couldn't match that number. And shareholders? They wanted growth, always. So if Apple couldn't sell more iPhones, they'd just sell more expensive ones. In 2018, Apple stopped reporting how many units it sold, a signal that volume no longer mattered. Revenue did. That same year, the iPhone X debuted with a $1,000 price tag, 30% more than the previous year's top model. Critics said it was insane. But Apple, they sold almost the same number of phones and made way more money. Revenue jumped 18% in just 1 year. And Apple wasn't done. They started cutting costs in ways customers would feel. Every iPhone box used to come packed with accessories, but bigger boxes meant higher shipping costs. So in 2020, Apple shrank the box and removed the charger and headphones. The reason? Environmental concerns, they said. But the impact? $50 million in profit just from shipping alone, and even more from customers who now had to buy accessories separately. Let's be honest. If you upgraded from an older iPhone or Android, you were stuck. No charger, no earbuds, and maybe even a cable that didn't match your wall plug. Then came the iPhone 7, no headphone jack. Then came USB-C cables in the box, without USB-C chargers. It wasn't just annoying, it felt greedy. And that feeling didn't stop with phones. Back in the day, MacBooks were accessible. You could open the back, swap batteries, and upgrade storage. Now, batteries are glued in. RAM and SSDs are soldered. You can't upgrade, you have to buy the expensive version up front. Want to replace a battery? That'll be $160 to $250 for something that cost $129 in 2008. All this while Apple marks up storage and RAM prices far beyond market value. Why? Because Steve Jobs believed in locking users into the Apple ecosystem. And today, that ecosystem feels more like a trap than a choice. Sure, the experience is still smooth, seamless, beautiful, but is it worth the cost? Apple still has the power and the people to put customers first again. But it has to listen, because customers aren't just wallets. They're loyal until they're not. What do you think? Have you felt the shift in how Apple treats its users? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your experience. And if you feel like the iPhone just keeps getting worse, don't miss our video. Why iPhone is becoming a joke. Thanks for watching, and remember, customer care isn't a feature, it's a philosophy.